operating system out there with every
Which
setting.
they to test the scaling or
All
the.
of them.
Did you send me? I didn't see the agenda. Did you send it?
Yeah, it's all in
It's on the
Teams.
website.
You better get some more people. How many?
I was just adding it.
Well, Anil and Corbin aren't gonna reapply to me.
Yeah, poll wrapping is on.
Are not replying.
I don't think.
Okay, it is recording.
We have to leave this door open because they won't know what to do.
It's hot in here.
They're not. gonna
So
know.
Teams under the calendar?
It's in 104.
And I just went to the celebration website. Grabbed it.
Hi, Paul. He's muted. Paul Restaurant.
The agenda's from 2020.
Did you get the applications for the next year? For this?
I got the one from Bill, and I got a couple of them.
I got an email confirmation that mine was received.
Oh, I did not.
Well,
No,
I mean, I emailed it to him, so.
I handed it to a person, so I don't know if it.
Where in
went in.
Teams?
Did you get mine, Jose?
If you go to,
To the calendar or?
no, you know what it Teams,
Okay.
which is Teams.
Yeah.
And then there, you're gonna see, agendas and minutes
Yeah, I just looked at there and see.
right there, and there's a folder for the files.
Oh, okay.
And then inside of files, you're gonna see, agendas. And then there you can.
I got it.
Jose, did you get my application for next year?
I gotta check. I haven't checked. But I'll check it. I'm pretty sure.
Handed it to a person at the front desk.
Smithy wants to get his old black belt, so.
Deservedly so.
But you need to-
You know, 1 month meeting.
Yeah, see him down.
It's so easy.
Why is it, he hasn't been in any meetings I've seen him in.
Over. Recording now. Not recording now.
We are.
We are
I
recording,
did state that, so.
so. We don't have. Or yet, do we? Or you want
Are we
more?
voting on anything?
Is Bill coming?
I haven't heard he's not. Is anyone in the other, is there something in the other room?
Because it's labeled as 104, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So if you don't have a quorum, you still have your meeting, right? You just can't vote. Is that the deal?
Yeah, Paul was-
Well, Andrew Duganzik is on.
But he doesn't count for
Yeah,
quorum.
right. Just download this. Okay.
Hey, Andrew knows. Andrew, Tom was wondering if you guys received his technology committee application yet. Do you know if you've gotten, or do you guys not see it yet?
I'm not sure, but I can check with Lauren to see if it was submitted.
We just got back to the, he was at headquarters in Texas.
Yeah, I think she gets back today, right?
If you're missing it, just be aware that Tom did reapply.
Okay. Yeah, toward the end of the week, I'll reach out to her and confirm with her just to make sure she has it.
Down there.
No worries. Let me just join the meeting and we can start, I guess, in the next 5 minutes.
I think, is it considered is it a
Workshop,
or what's, I don't know what the, yeah.
Well, there's 5 members, right? And all you
No,
need
there's
is
7, we need 4.
Oh, okay.
So is that why people fight for 3? So you want 5, so
No,
3
because then
people
they
show.
can't have meetings, so.
No, but I hear some board members like fighting over the years for 5 instead of 7, which then you only need 3 instead of 4.
Yeah, if it's 5, you only need 3. If it's 7, you need 4, right?
Yeah.
You text Bill?
Wait, I don't think I have it.
I got it.
Okay.
Hey, Andrew, can you see the agenda?
Yes, you're good.
Great.
What else we, Anil? Or
No Corbin Breck.
Right.
And yeah, I don't think Anil and Corbin even know that was extended like another month. The committees.
we didn't include the resolution on the agenda either. Discussion.
Yeah.
That's my mistake. I'm sorry, guys. Can we still discuss it? And we can
Yeah.
just add, we can just.
Yeah,
amend it.
when you call, if you want to go all formal on it, we can. When you say adopt the agenda instead of motioning, we can amend. Or instead of, we would have to motion to approve it. Open
And
the
then-
discussion and then you can amend it and then we can vote.
That's the value that we have.
If we are, if we have quorum, we just have a discussion, I guess. I don't know.
All right, so he says, oh, is it now? So I've done that myself, so. Well,
So he's on his way or
so
is
I
calling
said,
in.
if he can Teams or in or drive, I'll see what he says. But I think, sounds like he's gonna
So,
attend.
Was your trip when you went to Europe
No, I just went on a cruise.
or cruise?
Yeah.
You're on one of those that got stuck in an island.
Didn't really, yeah, or did not fail to get back to the ship before it left.
Yeah, now.
while we wait, Andrew, these are up for the resolutions are for discussion at the 10th workshop for your board. Is that part of what's
Yeah,
happening there?
To finalize them for the board on Friday and then discussion on the workshop to review and make sure we're all on the same page to then be good to go for the board of directors meeting. So yeah, on the board deadline is Friday, this Friday. The public meeting is the 10th, and then on the 24th is when they would truly be approved.
And did he say is he gonna log in or?
Did not say.
No. And the one that you sent us was last year's, I noticed.
Yeah, I figured take that and then we can tweak it how we see fit for the year coming up.
I don't know if you want.
Bill's on Bill's in the resolution, Bill's just opened the resolutions.
I just texted Brett, let's see. For 1 minute.
No,
I don't think so. That's when I spoke to him. I said, you're gonna redo for next year. He said no.
he said at the board meeting, was that last week, that none of the committees were full. Openings on every committee.
And I think there were a lot of slackers like me who hadn't put their application in. It was on my to-do list for Friday and I did it Friday.
Andrew, do you get the applications?
I think they'll provide it to us, but not, I think the deadline was the 12th. So until that date, I think Lauren's just holding on to all of them right now.
Would be
Oh,
good
I
to
would
get a,
I just don't have them currently.
it would be good to get a preliminary look-see so that we know who to encourage. So we could encourage people before the end of before the deadline.
Yeah, maybe I'll talk with Lauren to see what the numbers look like this Friday. That way, if we are looking for different committees to get that out on a Monday matters or communication next week.
He said Bill was looking at the resolutions.
Yeah, he's on there, like he's in the document. I see that Bill and Andrew are here in the document with me.
We should get started. And we'll, I guess, I don't know if you wanna, hold off on that line item, and then we can just bring it up once it shows up. Can we do that? Is it okay?
Angel, can we start without having a quorum, and then if somebody shows up, have quorum?
Yeah, I think we can. There's really nothing that you guys can vote on, but I think we're fine proceeding without a quorum. And then if there's something that you guys want to vote on or decide, then at that time we can acknowledge that you do have a quorum and proceed in that manner.
The only thing we motion, so usually is adopting the agenda.
Adopting the agenda.
Which we can't do. So
We could start with that, like, we could just do the discussion on the basketball tennis court and then do the,
yeah,
but I mean, we're still altering the agenda.
Yeah, I guess since the agenda is set, let's stick to it. And I guess we can't really change anything, but we'll discuss what it is and go that route. But nothing that can be voted on or I guess tweak the agenda, so to speak.
The problem is we didn't put the resolutions on the agenda.
Yeah,
So
so
we need that to be a discussion item.
And maybe we add that at the end. Just that we honor what the agenda is, and then we'll have to save that for the end.
so we'll pass the adopting agenda and don't have a quorum. But then you can start off then if you want, and then go into 3 into 4,
All right,
just
so.
for discussion.
So apparently there seems to be a need for having a technological solution to track access to the tennis courts, and the basketball courts as well.
That's volume 2 to that.
No offense.
You don't have a fence around
No
it.
offense, basketball either.
So there might be a way around it,
It's
but I
right.
want to bring it up afterwards.
Is Rec Pro going away?
Rec Pro is going away. ONR will be the solution for rentals. And then with the key card integration to ONR, that will ease a lot of that. The issue will be for the fenced out areas, we can add key card access, but then me and Tom had discussed it, how the hardware would work and what would be required. So we would have to get a specialist to come in and evaluate the electrical requirements and the hardware requirements. There is and I did speak to Scott, there is a wireless solution for the key card. However, the mechanisms that trigger the magnet release or the card release would need to be installed on those gates, and then you would need electrical done either way. So I can scope it out, get information, and then do a walkthrough with the committee members involved in that project, and then be able to present it to the board. As far as open spaces like the volleyball courts, typically you have celebration staff that has access to the application. The application allows me to go, hey, you're a resident here, let me see your card, tap your card. Okay, that person is a resident, and we can verify if they have.
But that's all future state.
Yeah,
So I think, like, are we just at, like, we recognize there's an issue, we're in the middle of a system transition, we'll take it up again in
6 months.
6 months once the system transition is over,
Right.
because I don't want to do things and then.
No.
They add on to it while we're.
But I think for community communication, knowing that there are technology solutions for that,
Yeah,
and that it's being looked at now and it's gonna be eventually addressed, I think is a good message.
I mean, it was an initial discussion. We
Yeah.
brought it up to Scott. Scott did present that there is a viable solution.
Yeah.
And not the expensive part would be the electrical, but again, that's electrical. It really doesn't fall on us. That's more of a facilities piece, and we just have to collaborate with them to see how we can get that.
Because ultimately, even with the, and again, that's Finder's China, but ultimately, even with reserving spots, like my group has Saturday morning and Sunday morning and Wednesday afternoons for volleyball, the celebration volleyball group. We have it for those 3 days, right? And then there was conflicting sand tennis that were coming in lessons, blah, 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 blah. To have that in owner to show, like, come up here, here's the owner, here's the app, here's reservation. Then you can always, and we have called parks, they have them down.
It's in the works. I can write down a brief summary of what was discussed and what solutions are in place. But then we could just put in the bottom that it's something after we've done with the solution.
This is hardly a technology problem.
Oh,
How it really, no, I mean, this is a tennis court with gates and power already there, and you've got a building that's got line of sight to it. This is, everything that is needed is already there. All we gotta do is put the hardware in place
Yeah.
and make it happen. I don't consider this to be hard at all.
but again, it's tied to the software, it's tied to owner, it's tied to reservation, all that's technology.
It's a,
So I think
of
that's
course.
it. I think that's the action. I don't think we need to have further, because I know we have a lot of agenda and we never get to it. So like, I think that's
I agree.
we have a system going in, we can't do anything until we get the system cut over.
No, I understand, but when's,
We have options once the system cut
100%,
over.
I agree, 100%. I'm just thinking, last 2 Wednesdays ago, I was asked to get up and talk about it, right? So to put your head in the stand and to ignore it either is not the right
You're
thing.
not ignoring it.
I'm not saying
We
you are. I'm
absolutely
not
have
saying you are.
Considered it.
I'm not
Like,
saying you are, I'm just saying it's.
Conversation. We
And-
can't
and-
do anything with it right this moment.
And it's funny because we had this conversation prior to it when Jim Hayes was here, it's just we didn't have the technology.
Yeah.
Now that we do, we just gotta finish it and then leverage it.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
So
um,
the message isn't, the message isn't we're ignoring it. The message is we're in progress.
No, I agree, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying.
So,
Just
I just
to
think that
ask you guys, some final comments here is, I think a short-term solution is truly a scheduling issue that Parks and Rec Committee needs to take up with Advantage Tennis. And that is the short-term fix. The long-term fix might be technology, but I'm not sure we need to put hardware in the location. I think it's more of the reservation system in ONR that you can confirm your reservation for specific times on the courts, and you can acknowledge that you're using it or that you're there, so it's in the system, and that's kind of the tracking mechanism versus building a whole key card thing on the location.
And they already made some changes to the schedule.
so. Celebration website, given the situation with spring break and the key card implementation, that was put on hold. Now that things are more settled, I think we can connect now. But how does next week?
What are we?
It was for the plugins. It was the evaluation of the plugins, really, that was the issue. As far as use of the site, I haven't seen any issues. People are uploading what they have to upload, not always in a timely fashion, but they're being uploaded. That's something that's being worked on and discussed regarding scheduling, like the ETA, when are we supposed to receive these agendas and how quickly we have to.
You're on Teams right now?
Yeah,
Right? Can you just send Bill a meeting invite? He's having a hard time finding the link, so if you just invite him. Up on his computer.
1 second.
You have the meeting up, you can just hit
Yeah.
the add person to a meeting and then it'll call them directly.
Okay, let's do
Right.
share. People. And then participants. You know,
As long as he's logged into Teams, you should be getting a notification calling in.
surely.
Calling in.
So that's it for the celebration website. So for EV chargers, we just got the contracts today. I'll forward them to the team to review, ask any questions. Legal is reviewing it. Is he on? Bill, you're on?
There he is.
There he is.
Okay, good.
We have quorum now.
Okay.
Hooray.
Have a motion to adopt agenda?
So moved?
Okay, so
Discussion and an agenda?
Well, we're gonna add, no, we want to add it.
And
Yeah.
discussion.
Yeah, we want
We
to
got a
add it.
second.
Second.
Somebody's got a second.
Yes, second.
Okay.
good.
So where do we want to add that? The conversation is, Bill, so since you're just joining, the resolutions weren't included on the agenda, so we want to amend the agenda to include those. Where do you want to discuss those? Or like, do you want to
More
run?
beef?
What?
Oh, we're into five.
Yeah, right before the brainstorming.
I think Bill
Okay.
Bill is muted.
Okay, so let's do it right before so I motion to amend the agenda to include a resolution discussion following security, so replacing, what is that? 6B, making it 6B and then brainstorming moves to 6C.
Second.
So continue.
Vote. You gotta call the question.
Does that again?
Ask
gotta
if we're in
vote now.
favor.
That's what?
Ask if we're in favor of the motion.
Oh.
The vote.
All right, do we have a vote on adding?
Yes.
Yes. All right, yes. Sorry.
Bill?
Do you agree? You in favor? Okay.
Okay.
Done.
Right, so we got the contracts. I'm gonna forward them to you guys today. Take a look at them. Legal is also reviewing them before we sign anything, and that should bring all our chargers up within a week's time. And that's pretty much where I'm at with the EV chargers. The next one is the My Celebration app.
Just real quick, any more complaints about the fast chargers not working?
Well, no, everything is down at the moment because the contract was finalized with Duke Energy and they were waiting for Novacharge. We were waiting on Novacharge, but the individuals we were working with, the first one got terminated and the second one left. So then we have,
They've been off since the 15th.
yeah,
15th was the
So-
last day.
so the
Are there
good
any signs over that say they're not working?
no, we didn't know until Duke Energy called us, which was like.
Yeah, which makes it frustrating because they're all lit up as if they are.
Yeah, somebody had a complaint.
So I did get complaints and the residents that they have the concerns, I apologized and I spoke to them directly. Or I emailed them via Cybernet because that's what they
Yeah.
sent me. I did speak to Liz about it and she'll send something short.
Yeah.
And only because I found out
Yeah.
through
Okay,
Novacharge.
we're good. Thanks. Move on to C.
So the My Celebration apps. So the good news is we now have that. Yep.
What date were you looking to have those up and running again?
By next week. We're just waiting to finalize the contract and make sure everyone is okay with the contract and no changes are made.
All right, so within a week or two is safe?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I would lean towards the or two and not the week, because we have to now wait for overcharges to go back in, put a new SIM card, and reassign those chargers to their network.
All right, so try to have it up in 2 weeks. I'll do that. That works.
So My Celebration app, we got notifications enabled, so now Liz is able to put the notifications. We do have some concerns. I'm getting a lot of emails from residents with concerns about not being able to track the community's tickets. They could only see their own notification acknowledgement. In other words, if you submit a ticket, an acknowledgement that it was assigned to somebody and that somebody will get to it. Those are like the majority of the concerns. I did a couple of tests myself. It is true. They're not able to see any information other than their own request. Versus what we used to have where the residents could see all the community activity that was going on. So these are things that I'm gonna bring up to CCDD in our meeting on Fridays. I don't know if you're gonna join that meeting this Friday, but I'll bring it up, but it's stuff that was reported already. It's more of us waiting for a response from the GOGA folks to say, hey, we gave you a list of items that need to be addressed. Give us a timeline and a roadmap so that we can present to the residents.
Well, I don't know if there's any legalese behind it, but I don't know as far as how we feel. I mean, I'll just give you like at Apple, when you file a bug, you can't go in and see the other people filed it, right? You just, and we actually use, with more people file a bug or put in an incident, it counts as a weighted factor that more people are doing it. So I don't know. So me personally, again, just my own personal feeling, I don't think I should be able to see other people's what they put in. If I see something, I just take the time and put it in.
So the reason behind that in a setup, from what I understand, is that it gives the community a visual of what's going on in the community, what's being addressed. If you don't go into the details, you can't navigate and put in a response for somebody else, but you know what's going on in the community. So if you submit a ticket, at least you know that there's 5 other things that have a priority, and you can say, okay, so they're addressing these issues first. There has to be some mechanism in place where they could say, hey, we submitted your ticket, it's assigned to this person. However, this is what the estimated time frame is to resolve this issue. You know, or that person will get to you and give you an ETA on when this.
Right, but each time you do it personally, you will get your own for your own ticket, so.
So, but that's not what's happening. Basically, somebody submits the ticket and that's it.
No, I understand, but if there's a tree down at Lakeside and I go submit it, and I'm the 10th person that did it, I'm getting feedback on what's going on. So when I submit you, so you are getting feedback, you're just not getting feedback from the other 9 people.
You can't see that 9 other people reported.
Correct.
I think their point is that if they saw that 9 other people report it, they might not report it because it wouldn't be necessary. Reporting takes work. You have to take a picture, you have to write up something. If it's already been reported, you say, well, all right, they already know about this. So I think that's their perspective. It's a judgment call whether or not I think that's a valid bug or not.
And the issue is there needs to be an expectation set on deliverables. If I submit a ticket and I have to wait 20 days for a ticket, that's gonna get the.
Well, that's the
resident
second of the
upset,
complaints,
right?
right?
So it's more like, okay, what's the service agreement that we're gonna have with, 1, the vendors that support the community, and 2, Grand Manors. So if we're here and we say, well, we can handle this because we see it, we can address it right away, but we don't know how the vendors address it. So I gotta figure that out and then I guess discuss it with Lauren and figure out how this is gonna be presented.
Yes, I think we should bring that up and.
There should be a turnaround time, no matter how many tickets are there, there should be a turnaround time, and if you can't meet it, there has to be a mechanism to respond and say, hey, you couldn't get to it, we're gonna address it, we're apologizing for whatever the delay is, but we're undergoing something, right? But, some verbiage that says, hey, we're here, we're listening to you, but we have another priority that needs to be addressed first.
But yeah, along those lines, Jose, I think looking at what's already been submitted and seeing how long it takes to complete those, use that kind of as your base to start figuring.
So, yeah, you use that as a baseline for metrics.
A second piece would be looking at, like you were saying, if a Grand Manors can do it, then should it take a week? If a vendor is required, does it take 2 weeks? Something of that nature.
Because then once that's defined, then the calls about the response time should be less. And then you could say, then the other thing is identifying what is mission critical. Some calls might not be mission critical. Like, okay, it's a small piece that needs to get resolved. It's not gonna affect any one person. I don't see any definition for it. There's things that are executed and prioritized based on the level of severity or impact it can have on the community, right? Does that make sense?
So what's the action? What are you asking for? What do we need to do?
So I think it needs to be discussed within Grand Manors and also with CCDD to sort of make that identification and process laid out and clear, so that when the residents see it and they submit a ticket, they know what's gonna be a priority over something else.
Before that, what do you need
I need
from
to-
us?
Well, from you guys, I'm gonna need just support on saying, okay, well, how do we frame this in a proper document and say, this has to be ingested into that technology, so that when they go into the app, they can see what's a priority.
I have a lot of different feelings about that, but
Thoughts?
I don't know that this is, again, we haven't really, so I don't, we can sit here and discuss it, but we're not the decision makers.
We're not.
So we need
Yeah, I
to,
agree.
the people who have the decision need to be in the room to make the decision, and that's not us. It's us in part,
Correct, I agree.
us in part.
The concern that I have is that they blame the technology and they blame the individual handling the technology.
But that's why you have to have the information, because it could be legal. Listen, we're not allowed to share information. If somebody submits a ticket, legally you cannot put and post that where other people can see it. That may be true or maybe not true. That's the first thing that will come to my mind.
Okay.
Right? And then two, just for me, again, I think I agree 100% with Krista. When you're getting feedback, you want as much feedback as possible. And when you have something that's ambiguous, like the tree at Bell and Sienna, the person that submitted that had no clue who owned that. It could be this, and Paul knows this, 2 feet here, it could be here, 2 feet there, it could be somebody else. So if you're letting people read something and determine if they're gonna do it or not, everybody should just submit a ticket, in my opinion. But again, I think, to Christopher, it's not our decision.
I don't think the issue was the submission of the ticket.
It's seeing what everybody else submitted.
That's the issue. That's.
So do you have a meeting coming up that you can add to the agenda?
I'll be on it.
Okay, so I think that's the next step is. it'll be part of the
John,
discussion Friday.
John, it's Paul. Since you mentioned my name, can I just make a comment about this?
Of course, Paul.
The old app allowed everything to be seen by everybody. So there's no legal, and there is no legal question. And it is certainly helpful to the community to know 12 people have already reported that light out. I don't need to do it again. It's absolutely critical for this app to work as well as the last app worked, which my second point is, do you realize it's still open? People are still making requests under that app. It's still alive. I meet people, half dozen people a day who know nothing about the new app and are continuing to either complain the old app isn't working or they're getting no response, but they're still making entries and it's accepting entries. Do you know it's still online?
So I already spoke to a seller. I requested for them to disconnect, to sever that connection between the app and the database where they have all that information. Liz was supposed to send notifications and she has. I don't know how consistent though, regarding going into the My Celebration app and not going into a seller. There's also an issue with the Apple Store removing it because there was a specific marketing feature that was added to that app. So I'm just waiting on Apple to address that piece so they can remove it. And maybe I'll just speak to you about it.
Yeah, we have like 2 people sitting around and handle all the requests.
Yeah, so yeah, it is being addressed, Paul. It just,
Okay, I didn't
had to
know if
wait for.
I didn't know if there was a way you could put a message on it or something that says this is no longer in use. Literally, there are lots of people just using it, and a ton of people that don't read their mail or don't get the mail and have no idea there's a new app or they should download it or where to download it from. So
the last piece to that, Paul, is that Jeffrey Webb is still going into seller service from the web interface, and he's pushing those tickets out to, from what I understand, into My Celebration. I'll verify with him and confirm that that's true. If it isn't, we'll address those tickets and we'll send another blurb out to the community.
okay, I just wanted to point. I wanted to ask one other question. When I experimented with this for you all, like last September, I used to get notifications as soon as I filed something, which I'm not getting anymore. But with great frustration, I have been pointing out a sidewalk around Longmeadow Park that has trip hazards throughout it, the raised panels of concrete. I have filed that under seller service months ago. I have filed it now twice under the new app, and I don't get it squat. And certainly the trip hazards remain there. I'm all for technology, and the technology is good, but if no one's reading this stuff on the other end and doing anything, it's going to frustrate the community immensely. I just point this out to you because I'm sensing this a lot. People say this is a great app, but nothing's getting done except lights will always be fixed when they're down, but serious stuff isn't being addressed, like this trip hazard around Longmeadow. It must be 8 blocks that are out of line.
Well, I've been reporting the same tree down since 2022.
Well, this is not good. This is not good.
I know, Paul, but I think, so a couple of things. I think one, expecting what was with a previous app and this app, I mean, that's apples and oranges, even though the app's the app. GoGov and Joe, the developer, might listen to us Friday for recommendations. I think if we need to be prepared, if they ask a question like, what would you like to see? Just a counter, yes. this thing's been submitted 12 times, they want a detailed description. I mean, I think there's more information there as well, but I think that, like, I've submitted a bunch of tickets and they get answered quicker than I ever dreamed of. But it depends where it goes to. Mine were Crowa based, so
Right.
you guys responded immediately. CCDD might sit on that sidewalk thing and file it somewhere.
John, unfortunately,
uh,
the sidewalk I'm talking about happens to be Crowa's sidewalk.
I
The
was-
park, the one around Long Meadow Park is owned by Crowa.
Okay.
So, and it has been submitted on both apps. And look, I'm just one person, but I think my experiences are common for other people too.
So
So-
maybe there's like an escalation button or something else, like if you don't hear, you can click something else to get like an escalation on it. Let's throw that around maybe
I'll
on the
check
Friday
it.
meeting.
I'll check it
Okay.
and I'll bring it up because it's not just Paul, it's a recurring issue that I'm having with other tickets as well. And I'm the one who's responding to them.
Yeah.
I'll look into it. I'll figure it out.
You can be waiting numbers.
So just to Paul's, I guess, recommendation, if you guys pull up the self-service app, the first button is, well, the second button, I guess, is review requests, and that produces the whole list of items that were submitted. And it looks like it even does provide the username that someone has. So,
Right.
you know, kind of that format. I don't know if we want to take screenshots or pictures of that and have that in your submission to CDEDD as far as, you know, being able to review requests that are out there and see that. And then I think it's a nice feature too, that they have a map where all the items are, so you can click and go right to it. So that might be two things for functionality with the My Celebration Florida app of having something comparable to what self-service had.
Okay, the feature request.
Make sure to bring it up.
Yeah, that's all fair.
And Paul, I think those were kind of the things you were looking for, right? As far as seeing those requests, and obviously you want things done, but depending on who's responsible for it, it may take a different amount of time.
Okay, we'll take that feedback. It's good feedback.
So, key card access, town hall. Is it okay for us to move forward? Okay. So the key card access installation for the readers are done. We did have a scheduling issue because the cards were scheduled to close at exactly 7:30, but a meeting was held and the doors auto locked. And then we figured out that those two doors, the main door in the front and the one on the side, doesn't have the capabilities to push out from the inside to open the door. We resolved that today for this door, side door that leads to the parking lot. So basically you just gotta hold the push button and then push the door, and that allows you to come out. But for this door, they have to reconfigure some wiring. Outside of that, key cards are working. The mobile app test that we did shows that it is working. Tom and John tested it here at Town Hall. It was successful. And the next step is to do the walkthrough at Artisan, the dog park, and CCFC, and that's scheduled for next week, I believe.
Friday, they're coming to, they're going to ours.
Right, Friday they come in for Artisan, so probably we're doing dog park.
Yeah. I think it's important. I mean, this goes. Everybody has to load this app on their phone and make sure that the process to get on works. The first time I tried it, I had a problem. And there was a button that I pressed and it ended up creating a mail that got bounced by the server. I contacted Jose to remove it, started over from scratch. Everything worked just fine. My fear is that it's gonna be another one of these, just like we're experiencing now with My Celebration, that to us, everything was fine. We released it to the residents. There's gonna be like 13,000 cards. And all of a sudden we have 2,000 problems that we have to thoroughly test. This means everybody on this committee has to load this app. And if there's any glitch at all of any type, we have to report it and go after it and find out why it happened.
So what I'll do is,
You already loaded it, right?
Yeah, no,
I loaded
mine's-
it twice now. And you loaded it, you had no problems, right? Did you use the QR code or not? Okay, so we need, I don't know, Bill, did you put it?
Bill hasn't done it yet. I haven't set him up for me.
Yeah, everybody has to do this. I mean, Andrew, did you do it?
I haven't used the card
No.
from
Did
it.
you
I
put-
would load.
Did you load the app?
No, he wasn't invited
Yeah.
yet. So the way it works is even though we did the upload of the CSV, to enable the mobile credentials, I have to manually enable it for each person. The cards will work, but
Yeah.
so all I have to do is just click on a checkbox to say town hall.
The issue was not that the door didn't work. The issue was initializing the app to make it work. That's where I had the problem. Now, it only happened once to me, but that's a red flag. So the only way we're gonna find out is to have a number of people. I mean, I can't keep taking it off and putting it on. That's myself.
So what I'll do is I'll send it to Krista, I'll send it to Bill, because I have their card numbers.
Okay.
And then I'll send it to Andrew, and they can test.
Were
it.
you on cellular when your user app in the beginning?
I was at home.
It was a bounce
You're on
back.
Wi-Fi?
Yeah,
You got to bounce back, because I've received it on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. but then the second time it went through, it was no problem at all. So that's concerning to me.
Sure.
Other than that, once you've got the app running, it worked fine.
We can even get like a test group of, ask for a couple dozen volunteers to
Yes.
come in and.
Just for the security part, or are we talking about the whole app now?
So the mobile-
Just when you first initialize the app and you have to read the QR code.
Because I mean, there's still problems with the app, like there's still a lot of things showing that we shouldn't be showing, like
Yeah,
service
so-
requests, and I don't know what packages
Yeah.
receiving.
Oh, no, that's O&R. We're talking about Gallagher, key card access.
Okay,
Yeah, and there, yeah, we are talking about that. And the other thing too, I did this.
so aren't the key cards in
No,
owner? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about loading the Gallagher app.
Oh,
Just the Gallagher app.
gotcha. You're not talking about the phone.
Not the integration,
no.
Gotcha. Okay,
I'm
okay.
just saying, putting the Gallagher app on your phone.
Gotcha.
That very
That's
first
not
step.
something users will be doing.
Well, they will. Everybody's gonna have, everybody who wants to use their
I
phone.
thought that was all gonna be integrated into owner.
that will.
Now we
be
have 3
integrated.
apps.
That will be integrated into O&R.
Yeah.
For testing purposes, we're using the Gallagher
Different.
testing.
Okay, so the residents will not need the Gallagher app?
No.
Okay, I didn't realize.
Okay,
We're only doing it
Yeah,
because we're running, we're only doing it because we ran the installation and we're testing the equipment.
We're testing the hardware.
Okay, so when they go to owner, what's gonna happen? Is there a,
You're gonna go into
Drop
your
down.
owner app and you're gonna have, a little menu box that's gonna say card reader. You click on it, the same way you did with Gallagher,
okay,
and then you click on that, and then you
Well,
tap in the door and it'll give you the
well,
same.
I think we need to try that for sure.
That has to be done after the installation is complete. Because then you do the integration.
So we can't test that on a site by site, door,
The integration hasn't been started. The goal was to address the key card access first. Have them then, once it's all installed, they go in and they do the API connections and do the configuration.
okay. So scope right now is the replacement of the system, which enables other capabilities, but we're not, it's, the scope right now is to install the system, not all the addition, we're not
All
doing the additional capabilities. Okay,
I brought it up a few times
Yeah,
about
we-
owner. We always
mentioned
said
it.
at the end, 6 months at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
I know, I remember.
I would say test the Gallagher, but this should not be released to the community unless ONR is fully functional for this application.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
All right.
Like this, there's a lot of cleaning up in the owner.
So,
Yeah, you guys are doing the difficult work, making it pretty, and then when it's finalized, then you can show it off to the community.
Yes.
so, I have a call with O&R, which jumps to the next section. O&R, I have a meeting with them tomorrow with Louis Mizrahi, to discuss that exactly. The planning of what it's gonna take and to start linking her up to Gallagher, which is Demetrius, who's our tech working on it. They'll discuss it on their end, and then once everything is finalized, they'll know exactly what to do and how to do it.
I think we need to back that up, because we're not talking about we need a plan overall, not the rollout plan.
Yeah.
Like, we need to understand what still needs to be done, like, we need a project plan, not a rollout plan. Because there's still, like I said, there's service requests is still in there, we still need to deal with how we're gonna handle the like people being able to, the social media aspect of it, how we're gonna handle that. So there's a lot more than a rollout plan to figure out.
That's good work.
So maybe that's the next thing is a workshop.
So we'll schedule that.
Did you guys start Artisan this week for the key card? We just do ours
Friday.
No, they're
No.
doing the
No.
walk on Friday.
on Friday.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the latest plan.
Yeah.
It's on Friday. So we don't have to take any more time with this. I'm confused exactly how this is gonna work now. So when you're in ONR, exactly, the residents are not gonna have to take any specific action to use the key card access. Okay,
That's how it's supposed to be designed. You shouldn't have to open the app. The NFC reader should identify it because each one has a unique
but
identity.
initially somehow the person has to be authenticated.
Oh, initially, yeah.
So when we launched the Gallagher app, which I understand is coming in downstream, compared to what we're planning on doing in the long run, we had to scan a QR code and you had to enter, there was a table, lookup table, right back there with a database. And then it would work, right? Well, that process had a glitch for me. I don't know if I'm optimistic that when we go to ONR, we're not gonna have that problem.
Right, so this was a manual process on Jose's
But
part.
is it going to take us into the Gallagher app then? It's gonna be API,
No.
it's gonna be its own standalone? Okay,
There'll be an automatic integration between owner and your backend system.
Okay.
We'll do that on a smaller scale. We'll do like 50 to start and.
yeah, we definitely wanna see
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And if it doesn't work, we go, no go.
Yeah,
We
right.
make that decision.
Yeah, okay, all right, okay. I'm fully prepared to wait. That's-
Yeah.
So security, you wanna talk about it? The cameras?
Well, we're still working, we got together, we took our first pass at building what we're calling a beta test site, which is a standalone box, which will have a cellular modem in it, it'll mount a camera, it'll have everything that it needs to be able to remotely monitor some location where we have no direct
Right.
access to a building or cable, this using the cellular network. We ran into some problems. There was some parts that I forgot on the list. There was some other parts that were incorrect when they came but you know, mostly the box is looking pretty good. So I gave Jose a revised parts list of components that we're gonna need to add. And we're gonna get those within the next week. We'll put it together and we'll have to get an account with Verizon, right? Because they're gonna be our carrier. And then we'll take it out somewhere and we'll test it.
Okay.
So, there was a lot of things that you wouldn't anticipate, like the camera mount wasn't exactly correct for the mount for the camera that we had. So, but we're working on it.
When the kids toy together, someone was.
It's pretty cool. It's a little bigger than I thought, but we're looking at about $2,500 per site. Yeah.
How many sites like that you think are around Celebration that are? we don't
It's gonna
wire
get
stuff?
into Greg. I actually met with CCDD today.
Yeah.
It depends on, I don't know how many, they had quite a few on their map that would need this along the walkways and things.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know to them if that's a lot. To me, $2,500 is a lot. To them, maybe that's not so bad. I don't know.
And then you have the MRC for the wireless signal to be sent out.
Yeah, there'll be an ongoing monthly expense, and there's data caps too. So I would say, you know, another couple of weeks, we should be able to walk this thing out somewhere and try it out.
Okay.
That's what I got for now, so I don't know if you wanna jump onto.
Yeah, let's go to the resolution.
On the security topic, just as a point of clarification. So, and we deferred this topic, so I don't want to bring it up and irritate anybody here today. The other component of the meeting with the board was that somebody suggested that we have monitors that stand out there and make sure that these people have cards. Somebody from Grand Manners said, I think it would, may have been Lauren, that, well, we could have, was it Nikki or somebody monitor the tennis court remotely and not need to have a person physically out there at the tennis court. And she could watch a video feed.
So we installed a TV right above Nikki's desk.
Okay,
And we got a note So now we reached out to CJS to get the HTTPS links to the portal. So that we can just access it via web interface and see whatever videos we want to see and play.
Is there a camera out there that,
There are cameras at the tennis courts.
oh, okay, that's what I wanted to know. So,
They are, and the basketball.
so that portion of the problem is in hand, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like it's solved.
It should be done by Friday.
The only remaining portion that was that the audio question, which was incorrectly addressed at the meeting. But we can fix it so that if these guys want, or the board wants, we'll be able to talk out to the tennis courts from anybody's phone that has the credentials and speak to whoever's on the tennis courts. If we want to, somebody will have to decide whether they want that or not.
Yes. And I did
But
bring
we certainly have the technology to do it.
I did bring
Are
it to
doing
her.
it. There is a place that we are already doing that, so we can do it there too.
But the one thing I'll say about that, get everybody's opinion, including Andrew's, I think especially for resolutions for next year. Tom, I think sometimes we get stuck where, like you point out, I'm not saying you're wrong, that this is the technology part of it. When I go out and work with customers, I look at the whole solution, right? We try to solve issues with the whole solution. And part of that is hardware. And the Gibson brought that up as well. There's pieces of the solution that other people have to make recommendations on and advise, right? But when we look at the whole solution, the pieces all come together. I think when a solution fails, it's because it doesn't come together. Right. And I think us as a team, I would like to be that, at least that leader, say, look, there's communications part of this. You guys, but we're identifying these communications need to be done. Right. And then at least get hands off to somebody else. So at least we did our homework. So when they say the technology community doesn't test, we looked at the whole solution and what's needed, not just the hardware piece of it. Right. And that's why I think with the tennis courts, the reservation system, it sits on technology as well, but that's part of it too. You get an hour in there. Just the camera's not you're gonna watch a clock. I mean, there has to be technology that clocks you in and clocks you out for that hour. And that's just part of the solutions as well. So again, I think at least for a resolution for this next year.
Well, that's called a requirements document. You have to know what the requirements are. And for example, in that case, we could do that.
Sure. I know.
We could have somebody.
But I think we
swipe in
get
and
stuck
swipe out.
sometimes, like, again, who makes that, like what you just said?
I don't know.
This is not, our team doesn't decide the hour, right? But it's part of the solution.
I understand, and I wasn't arguing that. The
Yeah.
fact is, we sit here and we can talk about it for an hour, but if we don't have the people in the room, we've just wasted an hour talking about it.
Right.
We need to get all the people in the room that can make decisions on these things to have those workshops. If we sit here, we could spend 4 hours in our meetings discussing. But if we don't have the people in here to make the decisions, those discussions are worthless.
Right, so, and I agree, I'm paying 100%, but then at that point, we discussed it, do we give Andrew a document, say, here, this is what we, these are the pieces that we need, let's plan the next meeting to get those pieces, right?
It's not unilateral, like, especially, so we're talking about the tennis court situation. We have a project in flight that will directly impact that. We're not going to introduce scope right now because the system needs to be installed. But in the next 6 months or however long it's taking us, we're probably 5 months now or whatever, wherever we are on the project, this next 5 months is when we have a workshop with the stakeholders, the board, Parks and Rec, and all of us come together to build what that requirements are. So it's 6 months when the system's good to go, we can execute.
Right, but I just want to make sure there's a path of information from what we discuss that gets moved on to the stakeholder, who's then gonna take that maybe the MPAG or maybe to the board. And I think we have great discussions in here. I think it just ends as we walk out, unless somebody just owns it themselves.
Yeah, I guess my recommendation or thought would be that there, in this scenario, right, with the basketball courts and tennis courts, there needs to be coordination between Parks and Rec Committee and the Technology Committee. And whether that is
And the board.
standalone meeting with those two.
And the board.
From a board perspective, we do a workshop and we request those committees to be present for, the first 30 minutes or something. And the conversation is dictated around that issue only. And how do we come together and figure out what the solution should be?
Yeah, agreed. I just don't want our team to be the one that ever gets accused of dropping the ball.
It's Paul, can I just make a quick low-tech suggestion? Because for the people who sounded pretty passionate speaking at that meeting, I don't play tennis, so it's not my thing, but they were pretty passionate and actually pretty articulate about a couple of things. When you say to them, well, we're working on it, we'll get back to you in 6 months, they're not going to be happy. And if the goal is to make people reasonably feel like they've been heard, one suggestion was just to put some hooks up, and that people on the tennis courts have to put their IDs on the hooks. And so that,
Parks and
well,
Rec
how
is
long?
working on that part of it. So
Yeah.
I hate to interrupt, but Parks and Rec has already been making those adjustments. Where we come in for technology is on the technology solution. So we can't make those. Parks and Rec owns the decision factor. We're here to help from a technology perspective.
Yeah, I know,
So
but what?
Parks and Rec is the one who's making those changes right now.
That's great. That's why I'm not ever on a committee, because I'm just not a diplomat. So I won't be diplomatic about this either. When you tell the person, that lady who was speaking at great length, very articulately and very passionately about her problem, she doesn't want to hear that the stakeholders aren't in the room. She doesn't want to hear that's different stuff. So what you could convey back is, we have a long-term solution that'll take about 6 months with high technology, and we have a low-tech suggestion that we're implementing as well in the interim, which is to take your suggestions, whatever her name was, Mrs. So-and-so, and hopefully you'll feel better that the board has done what you've asked us to do, that the committee is taking this into consideration. And I think that's a better response than the stakeholders aren't in the room, so we can't do anything until 6 months pass.
And that isn't my response to her, that's my response to this committee. So the response to her is that the Parks and Rec committee has already taken it on. They've already adjusted the hours with our tennis partner. They have already started engaged the technology committee to talk about what is a technological solution. So if you're talking about my response to the person who is asking, like, here's the problem, here's the solutions that are already happening. When we're here in the technology meeting, I'm talking about our role in that, and our ask is to look at the technology part, and we've got a solution, but we're not there yet. So that's where we're at.
And
But there's
just,
already other things being enacted.
Well, I hear that, but I was listening to this meeting just as she would, just as a homeowner, no one with a title. And I got the distinct impression, well, that's 6 months down the road. No one mentioned that Parks and Rec was working on her low-tech suggestion, which I just think you have to bear in mind that some people will be listening in like me. Other people may just listen to the recording of this meeting, and you want to fill them with sufficient information to feel that they've been heard, and not just.
And Paul,
Yeah,
I agree with everything you're saying. The Parks
I
and
agree.
Rec met after that meeting to come up with that, so that's why.
if we can, just to put a pin on this, right? So I get where you're coming from, Paul, but that is beyond the scope of the technology committee. They can work on suggestions and recommendations, but that's either communication from Grand Manners or the board providing direction as far as what the short-term, long-term solutions and communication are. So I do not want to pin that on the technology committee, that they're responsible for that. And I know we're kind of getting close to time, so I want to put a pin on any tennis conversation or that, and continue on with the agenda that we have.
All right, let's move on to the resolution. We'll bring it up. Do we have the one from Andrew? Andrew.
Yeah, Jose, do you want to pull up the shared one?
Give me 1 second, I'm gonna get it. Just gonna stop the share here.
So I guess just Paul, he's pulling that up. Just a quick question. What is the status of the dog park implementation one?
We're doing the walkthrough next week.
So let's talk about that. I mean, I actually put a comment in there already, Andrew. But so the defining of what the solution is and all of that, like that whole section can be removed. We're done with it. It's now part of the security project and the operations of the reporting system and all that stuff. That goes into operations. So as far as the technology committee is concerned, we're still helping with the implementation of the overall project. But the work to identify and do all of that stuff is done. Right?
Yeah, so I'm thinking dog park committee is truly the lead on that. You'll just provide a supportive role, but there's not much for you guys to do anymore.
No, our role in this would be, I'd said that one of the things we can potentially add, so like I would get rid of 5 and 6 altogether. And then insert a new 5 that's like, what are our current projects? Need to define what our current future projects are and add them. For the dog park one specifically, like I would say that we get rid of all of that, and it's something along the lines of assisting the IT staff with the install and rollout of the new security system. And that's what it is. It's not dog park. Because
Okay.
it's much bigger than dog park.
All right, I'm good with that
I can
then.
join the team. I can join the meeting too.
You have it out already?
I've got the document out.
Please, I'm trying to see if I can get this. In my...
You got the email from Andrew, you had it listed in there.
No, I have the email with the link. It's just with the download. It's just that my Outlook is loading for God knows what.
I'll just join the team.
So I'm on it. So what, you're, take 5 and 6 out. Agree with that.
Yeah, can you see all the comments?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we go back and start at the top, like that might be technology committee meeting. And then we'll join that.
I guess, are you guys good with 1 then? Or do you want to start with the objectives, or you want to start from the top?
We can skip the whereas at the top.
There, yeah.
Then you want to go just the committee goals, universal?
So are the universal goals, those are something that you guys are setting as the board, right? Didn't I hear that was Charles took that on from the board to come up with the universal? That's not something we have purview over really.
Yeah, that's going to be like the overarching one that is for all committees, like a master chart.
You should be able to see my screen. So maybe scope. I just made some grammar things there. But I know, Tom, you had some thoughts on that last part of the scope last year. I don't know if we want to try and reword that at all. Scroll bar. Gotta love it.
What does underline mean? In the edits? Is it?
So can you
something
see the
added?
screen? Yes, it's tracking changes.
Yeah,
So I
okay.
deleted technology and capitalized it.
Yeah.
Because that's the only change there. The other one was just some cleaning up of the wording, because that was just a lot of words to say one thing. And then the part that I highlighted and tagged you on, I know you had some thoughts
Yeah,
on
no,
last
I
year.
agree. I agree with, you've got it dimmed. The, I don't know, the guidepost is the correct word. Why can't we just take it out as you grade it out?
So we'll serve it, take out the whole thing, or is it more of the, would we say, the technology, the IT personnel will serve?
You already said just above there, it will be done through means of collaboration with IT, i.e. Jose.
All right. Get rid of that whole part.
Yeah.
Fine, get rid of that
Right.
sentence. You don't need to say it twice if you guys are good.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And then change that to 24, 25. Okay. So 1, let's see this comment and we'll resolve that. Okay. Moving this comment. The deliberate. Are we even here's my question to this one. Are we even doing this? We should keep it if we're gonna do it and if there's a need, but the way it's written, it sounds like we're doing training on apps. Under the technology cornerstone, I could potentially see a quarterly speaker series or presentations about new technology, but we shouldn't be accountable for helping people learn how to use Facebook. And that's kind of the way that it's written.
Well, I think it's like the videos that Jose created for owner or for.
But we weren't doing, the technology committee wasn't doing that.
We talked about though, us doing it. And Charles, it wasn't Charles, somebody else asked on the last, then Dave Anderson asked the last meeting for a minute. I mean, I've been volunteering there for years. I'd be more than happy to do 1 or twice a month in my own time.
But what?
People have issues with their app. Come in, bring it in.
I think it's being more, providing a level of specificity,
Right.
providing training on applications that are used within the general vicinity of celebration, right? So all applications that are part of celebration
Well, my celebration owner reviewed too.
So yeah, so you would identify what those applications are as opposed to giving broad strokes, because then that means they'll show up for anything, right? So I think that's what we're.
Yeah, I guess for the committee, right?
I don't know
Wanna-
what this is telling me to do. We didn't do any of this, so.
Andrew, you were saying?
Gonna say, do you want to commit to doing, something once a quarter as far as either a My Celebration app or ONR walkthrough? Then the
I
people,
mean, that was always the intent though, internally, to not just provide video training, but to provide a one-on-one with the community and answer questions and provide guidance on those particular applications that are used at Celebration. So it's not just a video. There's someone you can speak to about it.
no, I understand that.
Periodically.
I would say
Is
this.
that
where
Grant
the-
Manners IT objectives, or is that technology committee objectives?
Yeah. The intention is there for members in the technology community to participate. That's what. I don't know, I mean, it depends on if you guys are willing to do it. Right?
The way that this is written, so it's just the way that this is written is it says we are developing quarterly programs for training residents on in-house and other common applications. We didn't do that last year. Do we want to continue doing that? Do we need to reword it so that it's something that we're actually doing? Because I don't want to put things on here unless we're gonna do them.
Do we want to get rid of the other common applications or just say in-house applications? Right, you guys should only be helping people out with My Celebration app and ONR, right? You're not going to be setting up a LinkedIn profile or a Facebook account or anything of that nature.
Unless you're taking it of the concept of like, does the technology committee, and under the technology cornerstone, are we doing like are we trying to do speaker programs where we're talking about like, what is the future of electric vehicles or something, and we're bringing in somebody? So there's two different components there. You got to think about like, are we bigger picture or are we?
Well, I think they
focused?
use, I see what you're saying, but I think they use the word educate, just more of a training word to not educate on other technologies. But the way it's written, right, so like you just stated.
I like the training part,
Right.
as Andrew said, on apps that are pertinent to some celebration residents that we are launching. Or that are associated with the management of community.
The educate residents on celebration.
Really not a speaker program, basically.
Because when ONR does come out, it's gonna have a bunch of pieces to it, that each piece could be a training. And again, I volunteered a million times. I volunteer all the time in sports in this town. I'm more than happy to do training.
And therefore, I mean, we did do it, Jose. I don't know if you actually had, but you launched the training video. And that's the kind of thing that I think we should do on things that are new.
So is it quarterly because we don't have stuff, or is
Yeah.
it more, do we develop programs as needed to train and educate residents on tech
Yeah.
acceleration
Right.
technology?
Maybe quarterly is not.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone good on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't even understand what this one's asking us to do. Andrew commented, should we keep this one or does it need to be changed? And I said, I don't even understand what this one's asking us to do. So,
This number 2 we're talking about?
yeah, number 2.
I'm okay getting rid of it if you guys, I mean, because right, this is looking at, you guys are going out in the community and getting interest and all that kind of stuff, which I think that's beyond the scope of the committee.
I don't know what I did there. I'll just leave that. We'll fix it once it's. Okay. 3. Andrew's first pretty generic and fine keeping. All I did was add research and conduct feasibility studies. Is it an and or? Because maybe, yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Because
that,
sometimes we're researching, we're not
Right.
conducting feasibility studies. Okay.
so I'm good with 3. I think that's fine.
I think the last, so I'm gonna jump to 7 real quick, because the next ones are meeting, so let's talk about 7 real fast, and then we can go
What
back.
happened with 4?
We'll come back to
All
it,
right.
because those are the meaty ones about what are our current projects.
Okay.
So let's hit 7 real quick, because I think we can knock that out real fast. I don't have any issues with. What do we have here? 7, I don't think. Open to changes.
Which I guess, if thinking of this, right, if we have 7, do we really need 2 and 3? Aren't we kind of saying the same thing?
Can we get rid of 7 entirely?
2 is gone.
Well, maybe keep 7 and get rid of the other ones above.
We got rid of 2 already.
It's 3 and 4.
I feel like, isn't 7 restating the scope? And 4 maybe?
I mean, we can
Oh, it
leave
is
them,
restating.
that's fine, but I
Yeah,
don't know if we're just being redundant.
Before out. I don't see anything bad about 7. No, you see a problem in there?
no,
Okay. Well, 7 would become the new number.
get rid of 4. Is that the same as 4?
Yeah, I want to get rid of 4 because it uses the word cutting edge.
Okay, so what that leaves us is, what are our current projects? So like 5 was basically all the dog park stuff, and 6 was take the dog park, whatever we decided, and implement it. So I think there's probably something, and here's where I'm not a writer. So that's where we probably need one that's like, I don't know, assist in the installation, or we can wordsmith this later, or installation and rollout of the new security system. Installation, the implementation, installation and implementation. I like alliteration. New security system. And we can,
Testing being interesting.
Take out the word
Yeah.
of new security systems. As we're finding new things. Yeah, it's not the security system, it's just, systems, right, period.
and we can make that longer however you want. I always want to capture the ideas.
Do the team's link to send Breck. The team's link to send Breck.
You can invite them, just invite them in a minute.
What are our other in-flight projects? We've got owner. How do we want to?
I guess just going back
How
to
do we
that
wanna-
security system, do you want to put kind of at the end of it, inclusive of key card access, security cameras, et cetera, something of that nature? That way you can kind of encompass all that with that one.
Sure.
You know,
We can wordsmith them.
But that way you don't have to have an individual one for each one, but yeah, maybe there's only 2 or 3 that we actually add for areas. And I'll pose this to you guys. I think the 3 areas of focus would truly be the security system, I think, is kind of the top one, followed by the usability of the My Celebration app, and then implementation of the O&R app. Those are kind of the 3 I see this year that we need to focus on the most.
Those are the main 3 the main 3.
And then I guess do we need
Obviously, you gotta add words to
web
them.
too? Do we need to do something there?
I despise teams.
What?
If it send a link,
it's been sent.
yeah.
And by the way, I just reviewed it. It's being sent to the whole team, so everybody should have the link.
So are those the big 3 ticket items that we want to?
Yeah.
We can flesh those 3 things out so they actually sound better than.
Do you guys want to put anything regarding the celebration website that there's going to be any focus there?
I think the communications committee needs to own that and decide.
I second that.
So then do we want to put, partner in a supportive role with communications committee on website enhancement.
I would have, personally, I want them to own it and
Encourage them to reach out. to us.
own the collaboration. I don't think we need to call out that you need to collaborate.
Okay, I'm fine with that. That goes on the communications one, not the technology. Okay.
It was originally not even on the technology committee. The only reason it's here, like even 2 years ago when people were applying for the technology committee, assuming they'd work on the website, we were specific and the technology committee doesn't do the website. And the only reason that it was is just because Bill and I have been helping out Jose
Yes.
specifically, and we happen to be here.
Okay. And then I guess topic of EV chargers, once we get that contract done, that should be up and running and there's really nothing else we want to do on that front.
I think we should get rid of the EV charger discussion. I mean, with vanilla finally, really the EV chargers are, I mean, you don't want us to track that anymore, do you, Andrew, or do you?
I mean, I don't think there's really a benefit at this point, right? That we have the ones at Lakeside and the ones at Town Hall, Dog Park, and
We're tracking them for the purpose of making an educated, informed, database decision on whether or not to keep them or not. That was the purpose of tracking them during this trial period that we with Duke Energy. That was always a finite term, at which point it was going to be turned over to Celebration. Okay, that is over now. It's done. So, and the decision was made as to what we're keeping and what we're not keeping. At this point, it falls into the category of being operational. Somebody just has to maintain them and work on them. We're not going to make a decision further as to whether to keep them or not. You already made that decision.
I would just like to see, this is coming from a resident, and I think it goes to what Paul was saying. When there's usually complaints about things in Celebration that are not working or not usable, they start pointing fingers.
Yeah.
Okay. And so to me, if there's something on the website, if you can't log in to the website, I don't want to say the technology group's not doing their job again. If they can't charge, I don't want to say the technology group. So if there's a place like on the website that says if you have charging issues, you have login to the website issues, there's a place they can go there to find information and to get information. And so instead of, again, this back porch crap of pointing fingers at people.
Well, should it not be? I mean, it's in the My Celebration app. Is there a category for a problem with the chargers?
No, there isn't.
Well, it should be.
Right.
Right, a person pulls up
And the
Yeah.
website,
and they submit a problem there and it will go to you to address. As
like, so last year when I joined the team, the first month, the first call that you had, people were going crazy about the chargers, and we talked about, let's get them the information that they are being used, right? And
Yeah.
again,
This creates another issue. I think there's too many avenues. I gotta look at Cybernet, I gotta look at emails, I gotta look at an app. We need to streamline this because if I do focus on one thing, and I'm speaking for myself, if I'm
Yeah.
focusing on one thing, I can't pick up the other four, right? I think that's another discussion to be had. So you're right, but I think that has to be a bigger discussion.
It's just not part of this streamlining though. If it comes in through My Celebration app, it's not gonna be a call to John or to technology. It goes into management. It's an operational issue. Does anybody disagree? That's
No,
what
I-
passed the case?
no, and then you can reach out, say to me, say, John, I'm getting this feedback from the app about this, we need to discuss it maybe as a team, or what have you.
We produce mountains of data that no one
Yeah.
looked at.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Mountains of data. We could, and no one ever really looked at that data and then they just made a decision.
Because I'd love to be able to post stuff in My Celebration app or a notification, or just say, our team comes up with it, we give it to you and you post it and they're like, if you're having an issue with this, here's a link or here's a thing to it, right? Because I'm not going on the back porch or waiting my wife to post stuff.
Yeah, that was an oversight on our part. We
Yeah.
should have added that as a category.
Yeah.
So as we think about this, so like we have
Yeah.
here,
Hmm?
but we've got
I sent it to him.
1, 2, 3,
He
4,
hasn't joined.
5, 6. goals and objectives. Is that appropriate? Because, okay, I'm just thinking about like, when I set my objectives for work, and I'm getting paid to be there 40 hours a week versus setting my objectives for a committee that I am not spending 40 hours a week on. Like, is this reasonable? Is everything we have here reasonable?
So you're gonna elaborate on what my celebration app and ONR app?
Yeah, what is our role? What do we want? What is our goal with that?
Yeah, I guess is it more for, I guess the My Celebration app, right? Continued improvement of the application with partnership through CCDD, right? Because there's only so much you guys can do.
We can't improve. We can't do the improvement. It's
We can
more,
recommend
we
it.
can recommend and consult, but we
We
can't
can
actually
test.
do anything from a improvement. We can't improve it.
Take
So
your point,
this,
taking your point.
this
Test
really
and
provides
rec-
recommendations.
Test, recommend, and
test
consult.
and recommend and
And so,
improvements to the app.
right. But the other thing that falls on our lap or my lap is that I've been asked numerous times to get up at a board meeting to sell it. So if we want a new feature that we all agree on, but the board's got to vote on, right? But I don't know if we want to put that as a resolution.
To sell the app.
To sell what we want, like if we want a vote of 4 people for something that we think we should add to own our app.
Yeah.
Right, people have asked, John, please get up at the board to get the votes.
Yeah.
Unless something we document here or
No. But I think that's part of the normal process.
That's part of the whole process.
Yeah.
You gotta sell.
You know me, I love that.
On that line, it's something where within the committee of votes taken of, do we all agree with this, I guess, improvement to the app? And, you know, if everyone says yes, then that's what gets reported up to the board of, this is what they're looking to do. And then it's for the board to take those next steps if needed to implement with either CCDD or Crow itself.
So is this capture what you're saying?
Because down the road, if there's any changes to any of the apps, you're gonna ask for approval from our team and then board vote.
Consult and test on the implementation and advancement of the My Celebration application in collaboration with CCDD and CROG. Does that cover it?
Take the word on out. So to test the app implementation.
Implementation.
And again, some things may be kind of board understood from your recommendations that it goes straight from the board of directors CCDD liaison to go directly to CCDD and provide the request. So there may be an opportunity of, it's kind of a handoff from one to another.
Same effects for the ONR minus the collaboration with CCDD.
If
Because we
it-
don't collaborate with them right
Do
now.
we need to include that we want to be involved in like the feature request or anything like that for My Celebration? Or no, that's more the day-to-day effort in the objective. We don't need the objectives to be into the details.
Implementation and advancement.
It's covered?
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Did I lose your sound, guys?
Pardon me?
Oh, sorry. I'm back. Sorry.
Recommendation and plan for the owner app, is that? I don't know. I don't know what the plan is there. I'm not 100% sold on all of the features that we think we're gonna implement. So I still think there's a risk of saying that there'll be a no-go on it for certain things. So is that
There'll be another one, what,
on O&R?
Yeah.
the whole thing?
Not the whole
No.
thing, but
Features.
a bunch of some of the features. So
Okay.
is it just, we need to develop that recommendation and plan for the rollout of it, or is that enough?
I think what you got here is exactly, we're gonna develop a recommendation. If the recommendation is that some of the features should be canned, that would be part of the recommendation. Put that in the
to
recommendation.
assist with, would it be, what are the main things? It's something to electronic key cards, app scheduling,
Application and features.
um,
Right.
Sorry, guys.
And don't get into.
don't get into the specifics on it,
And
okay.
features, I like seeing features, but we want to expand the capability of one R, that would fall under the category of
Okay.
features. Yeah, that sounds good.
Do we wanna put like, do we wanna include anything on like, you know, electronic key card? Cause I know we're excited about that, so do we wanna put like, including or not limited to key card access, scheduling, or no, just leave it off?
General enough.
Yeah, I
You
don't
wanna
think.
make it more
we
specific.
need to go into-
I don't care, I'm asking the question, do we want it more specific or not?
Well, that's under 7B, right?
Or
Or.
the new four?
Yeah, yeah, you're seeing the real-time changes, right?
Yeah, where's Room 4?
Consult on it, or no,
Well,
sorry, the
I
new
think
five,
The new no regulation.
Yeah.
That'd be separate than security though.
yeah, second security.
And security's still under.
But ONAR's gonna have the electronic key cards as part of it.
Right. I think that's covered under a feature. That's a
Okay.
feature of the owner app.
I was just asking, do we wanna be more specific,
No.
or are we good with what we have?
Yeah.
Okay. The only other thing that I would see, that I would have loved to see on here is something where, like, we talk about, like, what a technology roadmap looks like for Celebration. Like, as the technology as the cornerstone of technology, we're a lot of times we're just chasing our tails and into this week, what are we working on this week? Where, I mean, personally, it's me, like, I would like us to be more of the visionaries for the town on technology, and what is it? Not to say we know what the technology is 3, 5, 10 years from now, but like, we have an idea of some of the things that are coming, so maybe it's like, in the next 5 years, revisit the autonomous vehicles, or, you know, something like.
He just emailed me last week.
So I would love to see something on there where we put together like a 3 to 5 year roadmap.
Is that part of the impact?
Something.
That's something which should be, I mean, given my experience on this, that should become a standard.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean.
But it's missing.
Outside of here, it's,
You know, I think it should be stated in there.
or going forward, we should have that and consistently updates, because the roadmap changes, right?
Mhm.
And so it has to be maintained and upkept and created, basically, so yeah. 100%.
Andrew, do you have thoughts on that?
I get where you're coming, but is it really something that can be accomplished, right? I get there's different technologies and things that we may want to implement, but with the limited budget we have from an HOA, is it really something we can truly pull off?
Can create a roadmap. We're not saying you're purchasing all these things, like this is what it would take to bring. There's obviously still approvals, but this would be the.
I think you need to have this, all of this stuff is tactical. There's no strategic goals here. So what's the future? So for example, you mentioned autonomous vehicles. Maybe we could never pull it off because of the cost, but you've been talking about AI implementation. We know it's coming, and it's a big wave coming right now. How are we using? We're using no AI,
You're using no.
but should we? Of course we should.
Absolutely.
We'll be standing by ourselves if we don't. So we need to have some visionary discussions, like the stuff that you were talking about, which we should have conversations like that in this meeting. Right?
Moving concepts about AI,
Yeah.
augmented reality, it was machine learning, different things that we could put out here.
This is not pie in the sky stuff. I mean,
It's
people are already doing it. No, look at it.
So instead of roadmap, is it more a strategic?
It's not that
vision?
we're gonna do it, but
Yeah.
we should be talking about it.
I'll tell you right now, though, okay, right now, and I'm fine with it, but I'll tell you, we have like a meeting, we're gonna discuss AI, we're gonna be here for 2 hours going back and forth with each other.
You know, those
It's gonna be, no, if you're gonna talk strategy and pie in the sky, it's total opinion based. And we will sit here for 2 hours. I have very strong feelings about AI and probably disagree with a lot of you guys on how you feel about it. But that's what we're gonna have, we'll talk about those things. I'm okay to talk about those things. We talk about having a monorail take us to Disney from here. People have brought that up as well. Those are all lively discussion things,
Yeah.
because the autonomous bus was talked about that. Oh, the creek takes down World Drive. I'll sit here for 3 hours and go back and forth those things, but I'm just saying, you're opening the door for that. It's all opinion based. It's all strict opinion where.
So we're selected by, and we have to provide our resumes. And we're selected by the board to be the leaders of technology in the community. So if we're not talking about it, what are they gonna do when they get asked the questions?
Or is it the board talks about, say, AI, for example, they come back, listen, the board workshop, we need more information about AI. I'd like your team to look at that and feasibility of what AI initiatives are out there that can enhance this resident celebration.
So are we a reactive committee or are we a proactive committee?
So far, for 2 years, I've been on this team, it's been 100% reactive.
Well, that's what we have to change.
What about
Are there
this?
enough cycles? No, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying we're already swamped already with being reactive. You can't just sweep that stuff under the mat and just go all.
We've switched spots. When I was you, that's exactly what you said to me. Exactly the same thing. And I was saying what you were saying just now. All right, we've switched seats. So I agree with, maybe we need to vote on this, but I agree that we have to have forward-looking thoughts about where we're going. Maybe AI is too broad, but
It was just an
there
example,
are
yeah.
specific technologies available now, today. Jose can put some on the table right now if you want to spend more time tonight, that we should be looking at for celebration. I don't want Andrew, I mean, I don't know what Andrew's credentials are. Maybe he's way smarter than we are. But my guess is that most board members don't have the credentials that we have in technology and the training that we have in technology, that they're gonna see the vision of the future and say, hey, this is where you guys gotta go. We should be telling them, hey, we can go this way. And then they say, yeah, that's a good idea. I don't think.
I think I think it's fine to say, get up, we do our update at a board meeting that our team has looked at this forward-looking technology. We're discussing it. We'd like to get feedback from the residents or from the board. And most people that get up at the board are complaining about things that are the blocking and tackling that's not working right
Yeah,
now.
those are
And most
bad
people are
programs.
all frustrated with the website not working, this not working, that not working. And I think it's a blend of both. And I think that's a good point. It just.
100% agree that that's been our history.
For this is we put something like seek technology opportunities for implementation in the community. I know it's a bit generic, but it's something that if there's something as far as like, if you want to have an AI bot handle some of town hall's inquiries of complaints and questions from homeowners, maybe that's something we do.
Something as simple as a chat bot that can answer some questions over the phone or over the website. You know, I mean, these are simple solutions. Yes, they do. They have to go through a process and be properly vetted. I agree. I still like the idea of the roadmap because it gives us the ability.
But I think roadmaps don't work. Roadmap is a product. This is a roadmap, what's gonna look like, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
No, this is, I mean, we're not.
Strategic vision then.
Yeah, there you go, there you go.
Technology is a cornerstone of celebration, just like health and all of those
So
things. So
the nomenclature roadmap isn't right, it's a right fit.
But a vision is different. A roadmap, this is what you're gonna do. A vision is tossing ideas around. What we see celebration could be.
So I'm interpreting it wrong. I agree with the whole vision piece, yes.
Because the Microsoft is a roadmap of the next version of the Surface. It's already done. It's just showing you what it's gonna be, right?
Right.
It's not a vision. This is their roadmap, what it's supposed to be. You tell a company that, they're expecting that to happen. But that's, again, it's just a word.
Yeah.
No, I'd love to find time to do that. I just don't know how we get it into our meetings. Yeah.
So it's kind of becoming a new trend, right?
Maybe that would be a technology workshop that we do to talk about vision
For everyone.
every quarter, a quarterly vision workshop from Texas.
What about if we put like ongoing research into technological improvements within the community.
What I would really like to see, like, I mean, this is where I kind of went with roadmap, what I would love to see is like, we're talking about master planning. So we're looking at what does the community look like? We know we're not gonna be able to build all the things we wanna build in the next 3 years. Like, there's just not enough money for that. What's that list of things that we should be looking at? Cause, are we gonna stay in 1996 or are we, moved up to maybe 2000 now? Like, but what does it look like for us, from a technology perspective to keep us in, on the road to 2030? What does celebration look like in 2030 from a technology perspective?
I agree.
And then if there's things that we need to make that happen, then we gotta start planning for it because again, there's finite,
But as
it needs funding.
and I agree with you, Kristen. I just look, again, I can't take my resident hat off. I was here in 99 helping set up the school and we've gone backwards in 25 years. We've gone backwards. We have less technology today than we did 25 years ago.
Let's fix it. Let's fix that.
But why? But to me, the reason why we're backwards is because people weren't focused on certain things and it ended up taking us backwards on stuff.
If we're gonna just keep moving backwards, then we need to take technology off the wall out there.
But does the board care about why we got backwards? Or maybe this last year we have gone forward, but I think the stuff that we're doing, we are doing so.
Bill, what do you got?
Yeah.
Well, in 2030, we should have our robot charging stations on the list.
I'm still waiting for my flying car.
I mean, but do we want, it can be a bunch of, do we want to put like remote chargers to people's phones and laptops and stuff around the community when they go down to Lakeside? I mean, the AI chat, I mean, personally, I think most people can't stand chat, but want to talk to people. But you can do that.
So here's my thing. I mean, because we're technologists, we look at this from a different lens. When things first come up, we don't like it, but then these things get refined and they get better, and then we love it, and then we all use it, right? So my point is, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, I have to look at it from that perspective. Like, how's it gonna look for everyone later?
Right.
Not right now, because I'm gonna be a tech forever. Right?
No, you weren't here. We did, Tom, we went to the autonomous bus stuff. We went over there, we took the ride and stuff, and it almost took way more negative stuff out of it than positive stuff, because the experience wasn't great. Money came up. You gave it to me to own it, and it actually took a lot of cycles out of us, and for nothing. I mean, it's, okay, we looked into it,
Well,
but we had all the board members out there going on the rides and stuff, and
But it got killed, the budget, it got tied up in the whole budget killing.
right.
Project, that, we put it at the bottom of the budget, and not only did it get killed, everything got killed.
But yeah, I
And we
know.
have a new board now, so those days are over, so, I'm putting that aside.
I just,
No, I'm just thinking how we should word it in there.
no, I think it can be covered in 6. I can see it.
So I
Done with the
I can't help but say this,
Yeah.
and, all I'm gonna say is, please don't respond by saying you can do a Google search, because this is not what I'm talking about, right? But how many people do we see on Facebook, and I'm not promoting one way or another, just answer, but ask about this theater, right? How many, that comes up all the time on Facebook, right? Could they do a Google search and find out what we've done? Well, maybe they could as a camp, but there is tons of documentations. There's so much information. Anybody should be able to go in with AI and say, oh, you want to know about the work that we've done on the theater? Here's a 65-page report that we did. You want to know about the ceiling in there? Here, go read this report. But you can't do that right now. And instead, people keep asking about it. And I laugh every time I see this one. Why is the theater abandoned? And
I mean, you should be able to just go into the normal website and do a search for that.
but you can't.
That's not AI, but I agree,
Well, it is
that would
AI.
be great.
If you go to Google and I don't know what you do, when I go to search, I get an AI response from Google at the top. And here's a summary of everything I found. And you can go read it in these details below from search engine, but here is the answer.
You're gonna wanna know what I think.
So real quick, one tactical conversation before we derail. So there was one other question because last year they dropped the committee to 5, then they rechanged it back to 7. What do we want? Like max of 5 or max of 7? I like
I
I mean,
like seven, otherwise
like
I might not get on the committee. I stand a better chance.
I'm always fine with it.
It is.
Yeah,
people
spoken by
wanna
the volunteer of the year last year. Come on, Tom.
Yeah.
Hey, I was number 7 this year, so I almost didn't make it.
I didn't know it's make it either. I have to go back and revote too for me to get on.
Yeah, so
All right, so now
I'm
you can go
good
back
with
to
7 because it maximizes my chances, because I've learned you can't make a difference from a distance. It's hard to sit in the stands and make a difference. Now, Paul here tries to, he attends periodically and he weighs in and it helps,
Yeah,
but it's really hard.
yeah.
So we need to make an AI chat bot of Paul Rashkin. In
Yes.
our all perpetuity for celebration, so we have that wisdom that can just chime in whenever we need it.
And then, speaking of, sir, there's a good article out there written by the person from, I think they were MIT or Google, that was one of the initial AI. And they pulled out, if you read what this woman wrote about it, glorified copy and paste, and people are making tons of money off the marketing of it.
It's
Copy, all it is copy and paste.
Andrew, I think you have what you need in that document now. Feel free to wordsmith it or whatever.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Chris.
Thank you,
Control of this thing.
And obviously the board has to go through it too, so. Call
Okay,
for
that's-
questions.
Yeah, I'll take a review of it tonight into tomorrow, send it back to you guys. If there's any last minute tweaks, let me know. And then, yeah, I'll share it with the board on Friday and then we'll talk about it next Wednesday.
Move to adjourn. Can I move to
I
do something?
second.
Yeah.
You have to call the question though.
Do we have a second to adjourn the meeting?
No, I already seconded it.
Oh,
I already
All right,
seconded it. You have
I'm
to-
part with
You have to say, do we all agree?
Do we all agree?
Yes.
All right.
All right, guys, have a good one.
My mind's going somewhere else.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thinking, I was just in my head right now, we gotta get over to artisan and fish and chips and on me.
And for all.